Hey guys, so we're going to break down some examples of how this form submitter actually works just so you can see it. Again, usually this is going to be running in kind of a minimized headless mode, so you won't actually see the browser window open unless it requires manual intervention. So right now, I just have it up to show you, but some examples of submitting the form. Also, it's going to check for successful form submits by looking at things like confirmation messages, making sure the form is no longer visible, things like that. And then, of course, if there was an error message ever, or if there was a manual input required, like a CAPTCHA element, it would open that browser and require the user to go in and make the clicks necessary. So these first two examples, nothing actually needed, just generic submits. It checks for the form submit confirmation before moving to the next record. Some things that aren't being shown here right now is just the aspect of the crawler going onto the website and finding the contact form. You can actually see it here in this example. So the page doesn't actually have the form front and center. So it's going to search for a bunch of different links and URLs until it gets to that form, and then it'll find and submit it. And again, this is going to be able to handle a bunch of different field formats and form types. It's smart enough to recognize variations in field names and input types and drop downs versus iframe forms, virtually every type of form that you could find on a website. You can see here some websites actually, the email, if it is publicly listed somewhere, it's just going to pull that in, scrape it, and add it to your database. So those you won't actually see the window pop up at all. There is an option to both submit the contact form and pull the email address. Right now, we just have it set to pull the email address if it's found. One thing that the script will also do is kind of scroll back and forth and look for contact forms, especially if they're not visible in the main window. In that last example you just saw, it ended up finding the email address there, so it just skipped right to the next website. Here's another example. Website email address is already there, so it skips over the contact form. And so kind of looking at that example here, one thing to know is if there are optional checkboxes, we don't want to put your email address into a subscriber list, so those won't be selected. If for whatever reason the message can't submit, then something like this would require the user to come on here, go click the CAPTCHA like we're about to do now, and then manually confirm whether or not it's been submitted. So really, this is the type of form that you would see pop up for manual intervention, usually only if it has a CAPTCHA, which is around probably like 5 to 10% of websites. And so on your script interface, it'll just ask you yes or no, was the form successfully submitted? And then it'll move on to the next record. Here's a good example. There's a lot of websites that have contact pages like this where the email, it's hidden. So it's actually embedded into a hyperlink, but what we did there is we found the mail to link in that email href and pulled it out and extracted it. So that's why it actually didn't need to go through and click anything else. It was able to find the email in that link. Here's a website that doesn't actually have a contact form. You can see it's actually searching for a bunch of different variations of forms that could exist. So it's looking both for iframes, non-iframes, pop-up forms, things like that. So I'm going to end it here. There's a ton more examples I could show you, but if you have more information you're interested in using this at your company or for individual use, just reach out to us, switchlabs.dev. Thank you.